Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to welcome you to our lunch. I'm going to charge you all with enjoying that. I'm going to tell you that one chair at each table had a provocative question on it. If you're sitting, oh, Hollenrake's got one, that's dangerous. So if you have the provocative question, you get to be a conversation leader. You're going to eat for the next few minutes, and then I'm going to ask you all to send your eyes this way while we invite Chris Policinski up for his talk. But before we do that, just some wonderful words of welcome from the president, the 16th president of the George Washington University, Steve Knapp, who I should tell you has a farm in Maryland, chickens and sheep. They don't eat them, they just shear them. You may wear them. And their daughter is now running a sustainable flower business from the farm as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to introduce President Stephen Knapp.
I should clarify that we shear the sheep, but not the chickens. Oh. Yeah. Well, it is a pleasure to welcome you all here. It's obvious that you've been having a great time from the proverbial buzz in the room this morning in this very important gathering, and I do hope it's been an inspiring Feeding the Planet Summit. I would like to extend a special welcome to the President and CEO of Land O'Lakes Incorporated, who's been mentioned already, Chris Policinski. You're going to hear from him a little bit later. He's been a very active participant in this project right from the start, and it's great to see him back on campus here, and I think has a lot of a great perspective to contribute to the discussion. I would like to thank, we have many sponsors, too many to mention right now, of Planet Forward. They're listed on the program, and I'm particularly delighted to welcome the many students from other colleges and universities who are participating in this effort. My understanding is there's something like 23 different institutions that are represented here today, which is pretty spectacular. Our involvement in this as the George Washington University reflects the commitment that we've adopted a number of years ago to becoming a model of urban sustainability here in the heart of our nation's capital. We hope that for the largest university in the nation's capital to take on that mission, we'll have a broader impact, precisely because we do enjoy an unusually significant location poised right between the State Department and the White House, right next door to the World Bank, across the street from the Pan American Health Organization and so on. And we've made a point since the beginning our work in the field of sustainability to, as we call it, practice what we teach. So in addition to developing a minor, which is now available to all of our students in sustainability, that's been up and running now for a couple of years and has become a very popular academic program for our students. We have also been working hard to affect the operations of our institution in a way that will reduce our carbon footprint. And there have been some dramatic instances of that. One is that we now have 11 LEED certified buildings on campus, including more than one of those have reached the platinum level. A number of them are LEED gold. And our new School of Public Health building, when it was opened last spring, just about a year ago on Washington Circle, has achieved a LEED platinum standard. And we've also been installing solar panels on our roofs for things like heating water. But perhaps the most dramatic instance of this was announced last summer when we released the news about the Capital Partners solar project. So just to give you a little bit of information about that, we decided to put fully half of all our electrical use as an institution on renewable energy sources. And we entered into a partnership with American University and with our university hospital, which is actually a separate corporation from the university. We entered into a three-way partnership that made it possible for a company called Duke Energy Renewable, this is a subsidiary of the well-known energy company, to build 3 solar farms in North Carolina. We did that by guaranteeing that we'd be purchasing their energy over a 20-year period. And that enabled them to go to the capital markets and get the investment money they needed to build these 3 farms, which one of which I've actually visited. It's a pretty extraordinary project. And it's the equivalent of taking something like, 12,000 cars off the road. It's equivalent to 52,000 acres of trees, but importantly for us, it's going to rapidly accelerate our progress toward our goal of dramatically reducing our dependence on fossil fuels. In addition to the sustainability minor that I mentioned, that's really one expression of a broader academic effort led by Kathleen Merrigan, former Deputy Secretary of Agriculture, whom we engaged last year to be the founding director of our Sustainability Collaborative, and who joined the head of our Sustainability Operations, whose name is Megan Chappell, and they have been working together on all aspects of sustainability across the institution. I mention this in part because Kathleen Merrigan is also the founding director of the Food Institute, which in turn was a recommendation that came out of a university-wide committee of faculty, students, and staff called the Urban Food Task Force, which is led by Diane Robinson Knapp. And just yesterday, we announced, and this was very exciting for us, it was announced that we became one of the 2015 recipients of the Department of Energy's Green Ribbon Award. That's 1 out of 9 colleges and universities selected for overall commitment to sustainability, and that just came out yesterday. Thank you. And of course, that's about sustainability in general, but there's no more important aspect of sustainability than all the issues that are being explored by this summit, looking at what it means to feed the planet, how that's related to issues of food security, food access, food justice. And there's no question that that's a very critical issue. Food sources are challenged by growing populations, by climate change, by the urbanization that's proceeding apace across the world. I visited a sustainability center set up by Siemens Corporation in London a few years ago and learned that every 2 months, the equivalent of a city the size of London is being built around the world. That's the pace of urbanization around the world. And the human population is moving very rapidly from rural to urban settings, and we've got to figure out how to meet the challenge that poses for food safety, food security, and food justice. And I'm delighted that you've been hearing from the perspectives, of students, scientists, farmers, as well as business leaders. To have that multidimensional conversation, I think, is critical to being able to address these challenges. And we're very glad that we are able to bring the summit to the heart of the nation's capital, where we can engage policymakers, the media, and decision makers with future world leaders. And those future world leaders are, of course, our students and the students of our partner institutions, the 23 of which are gathered here today. So I think that I'm very optimistic that with the strong interest that the rising generation has expressed in every aspect of food, that we will meet the challenge of feeding the planet, but it's going to take the kind of concerted effort that we're exemplifying today, and I do hope you'll enjoy and continue to be inspired by the rest of the summit. Thank you for being at the George Washington University.